Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can configure your web API and your Angular front-end application with the proper authentication authorization mechanism. And we'll be using Azure AD B2C, which is nothing but Active Directory business to consumer. So friends, before we dive in, this is the GitHub link where you will find every single project that I'm demonstrating. So feel free to go through and browse whichever project you like. For this specific video, I will post the exact link of the repository in the video description itself. If you would like to follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter and GitHub, these are the links that you can click and follow me. I will be more than happy to collaborate with you, so don't forget to follow me. Now let's dive into the video. The one that you're seeing on my screen is the protected application using Azure AD B2C, and it's also deployed to the Azure cloud, and we'll be using .NET Core 8 Web API and Angular 18, okay, with a standalone application. That's what the application was built, and it will be nice if you log in. See, I logged in now. So once you log in, you'll be able to see a lot of things, lot of information. So this is how the Azure AD B2C works, and you can also see the claims, right? The claims will show up here. What is the profile name and all of those things. So like based on the registration, right? You'll be seeing everything. So we are going to take a look at all of those demos, but I'm just trying to give you an overview of an application. Once you're integrated with that, this is how the application is protected. And before we dive into the demo, you should definitely go through the next 5 to 10 minutes of the video, which will explain every single concept of the Azure AD B2C. All right, so come, let's take a look at that. The first thing, right, we talk about Azure AD B2C. What is Azure AD B2C? Azure Active Directory business to consumer. That is basically a cloud identity management solution that allows business to provide secure access to their application for consumers. Here are the key concepts. We're going to see one by one key concepts, but let's understand what is that business to consumers, right? Consumers means we as a public, we are all consumers of something, right? Take an example of Amazon or anything, right? Even you can take a movie theater as an example. If you're from India, Satyam Theatre, or PMax, or from United States, you can see AMC, Regal Theaters, lot of things. You take anything, shopping information, right? So basically they're doing some business and they're dealing with the consumers like us. Now they need to provide a secure way for us to interact with their application. How do they do this? This is one of the identity management system from Azure that provides that opportunity. So basically what they do is they do all of this setup, and you as a consumer, you can go and register with them, and then you start using their application. So at this point of time, they will know who you are and to whom they are giving access to, like what kind of things that you're doing, how they can make everything secure between you and them. That is what called business to consumer. Okay, so understand, based on the need only the identity management should be used. This is business to consumer. There are two more concepts in Azure called Azure AD, that is within the organization, where you as an employee, you're working with application within the organization, then you use Azure AD. But if you're working with business to business, which is called Azure AD B2B, that means you as an organization working with another organization, collaborating with that. Like for example, airlines, right? Or insurance, where you are the main insurance provider, but there are agents company who are also doing business with the consumers, but they'll be dealing with you as a business to business. So based on the scenario, we will be using the identity management. So our case, we are looking at AD B2C. So we understood what is AD B2C. There are many things in this aspect. Okay, so in terms of identity management, what you will get is you'll be able to use the social networks, social accounts. Like you can use any social accounts like Facebook, Amazon, LinkedIn, or even Google and other things to collaborate with your application, right? You don't need to manually register it. You can still use your own social network credentials, but there is a way to integrate that. So that is possible. You can use your own account like email ID and do register. You can also use Office 365 enterprise account, lot of stuff. And then coming back to the authentication perspective, the Azure AD B2C uses the policies to define the behavior and user experience during the authentication process. We have something like sign up, sign in policies, we have some password reset policy, profile editing policy, or we will be seeing all of these things where you will be allowed to edit all of this information and you can change whenever you want. So you can also use authorization like access tokens and user roles and groups. You can do all of those customized thing, those kind of things are available in the authorization. And you can also experience, like customize the experience. So I will give you a good example. Go to airindia.com. If you try to log in, it will take you to they're actually using AD B2C. Actually, they are a big airlines company, right? They're dealing with the consumers like us. That's a wonderful example that they're using AD B2C, that we as a consumers deal with their website and interact with their application, right? So that is one of the things. So what I'm trying to explain you here is customizable user experience. Though Microsoft gives constant stuff, right, we can customize your UI to look very rich and very unique to your own website itself. That's what the Air India has done. From security perspective, you can use multi-factor authentication, some conditional access like for device compliance and all of those stuff. There are a lot of good things in security. And you can also integrate this application with web application, mobile application, some APIs. It uses this OAuth 2.0 and OpenID Connect protocols for this Azure AD B2C. So you can integrate this with your web application, your APIs, you can secure it. You can also use it for mobile application. There are some separate SDKs given from Microsoft AD B2C. You can use those things to have your mobile application integrated with this. Scalability and reliability, again, it's a global reach. As long as this is publicly accessible, you are able to scale up easily. It's very highly available. There is also something called SLA, which Microsoft gives for paid version. Which means you can rely on it, like it will be up almost every time. You can use the data storage, uses data storage very securely in the Azure itself. You can also interact that with the Graph API to modify something, to trigger something. And like we discussed, there are some branding and customization. You can use the custom UI to build all of those things. You can also monitor and reporting any phishing activities or anything that is going wrong. You can suspect the application can, the Azure AD B2C can suspect those things and do audit loggings, some reporting stuff. And it's also pay as you go, right? We as a developer, for us, it's 50,000 people can register. It's all free. Beyond that only, it is going to be cost. So almost for us, it's free only. Unless you have a running business which has more than active 50,000 users, you might have to pay. Think of this, if you have 50,000 users, active users, definitely are doing a very good business. You can definitely pay a little bit of amount for your own security mechanism. So which is good. So we saw some overview of all of these things. Now let's completely dive into the demo. From now onwards till the end, you will see every single thing useful, and the code is already present in github.com. So don't worry about the code, focus on how the implementation is done, and rest and all I will give you in the description. Go check there and download the code and enjoy yourself. Alright, so let's dive into the demo. First, you need to log into portal.azure.com. So I have logged in with my email ID, learnsmartcoding@gmail.com. So once you are on this portal, right, so from here we need to get started with, right? So again, I'm saying portal.azure.com. You need to first log in. All right. So I assume you have logged in. Now go to the search box and type Azure Active Directory B2C. If you start typing this, it will show you that option C under the marketplace. There is something called Azure Active Directory B2C. Click on that. So you will be taken to a page and you will have two options, either to link the existing subscription or to create a new tenant. We are going to create a new tenant. New tenant is literally a kind of a client to the Microsoft, okay, but that comes under you. All what you have to do is give an organization name and then give a unique domain name. This domain name is what people who are coming to your login system will know who you are, like to whom they are logging in. I'm going to create something called Karthik Tech World that will become karthiktechworld.onmicrosoft.com. So if somebody is trying to log in, this is what you will see in the URL. So at least they will know that they're doing it correctly, right? And then select the subscription, select the resource group. I'm going to choose the existing resource group under a different subscription. And then, so remember, organization name, initial domain name, location based on where you are, and then your subscription and resource group. Once you have these things selected, click on review create, and then the validation will pass. Once the validation is passed, click on create. It will take few minutes to set up the new tenant. Okay, remember, this is a new tenant, we haven't done anything. So once after few minutes the new tenant is done, you can click on this one, or you can click on switch directory and switch it from here. So what I experienced is it takes few more minutes to get this directory reflected here. So for now, I'm going to click on this, whatever you're seeing on the right side under the notification, that will take me to that directory. Okay, you can definitely go and click on the way I said, which also I'll show you shortly. But once you go to that directory, and this one is a separate directory. Okay, this one is under kartiktechworld.onmicrosoft.com. so in the overview blade, see, again I will show you when you go and switch. Right now it is switched and showing as current directory, but basically this is what it will come based on you click on which, like based on the switch that you click, the directory will be selected. Okay, so right now we are going to set up all of this AD B2C stuff in kartiktechworld.onmicrosoft.com tenant. Okay, so this is the home page, like kind of a dashboard. Here you come and search Azure AD B2C. You will see something like this. There are a lot of stuff in the left side, which is app registration, identity providers, API connectors, users, user attributes, and so many things. We will take a look at one by one. Right now, if you see under user, it's just that my own login will be there. But as and when user starts registering, something will come. So very first thing with respect to our application, we need to start with user flows. User flows means how user gets interacted. Like they have to do a sign up, sign in, reset password, profile editing, all of those things, right? The first one that we will select is user flow. Click on user flow, and then these are the existing one. Okay, what we have to do is, there is something, these are, each one of these are called policies. So we will select the first one, sign up, sign in, and go with the recommendation. Click on create. So once you go and click on create, it will ask you to define a name, like a policy name. I am going to select as SUSI, that stands for sign up, sign in. And then you see this identity provider. By default, there is nothing configured, so it's going to go with the email sign up. Email sign up means you have to enter your email address, and that will be signed up as a local account. For now, multi-factor authentication, I'll go only with the email. I'm going to switch it off because it will be really annoying. Every time it will ask you to do IMFA check. Okay, so let's skip that. The last one is the user attributes and the token claims. Basically, you see there are two things, right? Collect attributes and return claims. Collect attributes means these are the attributes that will be shown to the user when they are trying to sign up. All what I want is, I'm going to choose, I want a given name, and in order for me to choose more, I click on show more, and you can see all of these things. Remember, whatever is grayed out, you cannot select. Basically, collect attribute are the attributes which you will be able to collect from the user when they do a sign up. Because this is a demo, I'm going to take it as very simple thing. I'm going to choose the given name, surname, and display name. Those three will be the collect attributes, and return claims are nothing but in the token what kind of attributes has to be included, so that when we decrypt it, you will be able to see those in the claims. So I select whatever I want to collect from the user, that is from the collect attribute. Whatever I want it to be in my token, I will choose as return claims. Okay, so that's the important difference between attributes that you're collecting and the claims that is included in your token. Alright, you can also add your custom attributes, which we will see before this end of this video. And for now, we'll go with inbuilt attributes, like whatever you're seeing on the screen. Alright, so now we'll quickly select whatever we wanted from the collect attributes, which are those three attributes, and then we will also select few items from the return claims. Okay, so we'll select surname. Okay, so in the return claims, this is collect attributes. In the return claims, I want a couple of things to be in the claims. I want these three things. Along with that, I wanted to know whether this is a new user, also the Azure AD object. The object ID will be unique for each user who is registering with us, and so I want these 5 items to be in my return claims. Okay, maybe 6 items, email address also, right? So those things will be in the return claims. We will take a look. So once this is done, click on create. One user flow is created. Remember, user flow is nothing but the inbuilt policy. Microsoft recommends the inbuilt policy. Now we will also create a next one called profile editing. Basically, profile editing is after user is registered, right? If in case they wanted to change their name or display name or those things, if they wanted to change any of their registered information, they can use this profile edit. Okay, so here again we will go with the existing email address, and here if you click on it, you can now decide which one user can edit. I don't want user to edit their surname and first name. Let's, for example, for sake of argument, I am saying only display name you can change, and in the written claims I will select whatever I want so that I will be able to read it in the claims. Okay, so that's the difference between the collect attribute and the written claims. And this policy is different than the sign up sign in policy. This is after the user is registered. If in case they wanted to change, we will come set up this one and click on create. The last one is if they wanted to forgot, like reset their password, and we will be able to use this policy. With this policy, again, this is a policy name we have to give. I'm going to give as password underscore reset. So this is the third one. So we will, again, for the password reset, we don't need to do anything. It's all about the written claims. So basically 3 different policies, each one is for their own purpose, and we are on the third one. So the password reset is also done. Alright, so the 3 important things. Remember, everything is in small letters, so try to create everything in small letters. Alright, now let's talk about the custom attributes. Okay, so we saw how tenant was created, user was created. Next is custom attribute. So if you go to these user attributes, right, under the in the policy, you will see the user attributes as well as the application claims. Application claims is what I explained. Basically, that will be part of your token. Okay, now if you click on manage user attributes, which will take you to the main page, you see this left side user attributes. Click on that. That is what it is. So here, apart from the inbuilt user attributes, you can create your own custom attributes. I want something called user ID, and that's of type string, and I'm going to explain for my understanding why this user attribute is. Basically, as and when we build the application, I want this user ID to be populated by another system. Like there is a system that we will be building in upcoming videos. Okay, so I wanted to return the user ID of the user who is registered from the database. So we will have an entry in the database. I wanted to get the user ID of that entry, and I will be populating this particular custom attribute with a separate mechanism, which we will talk about later. That's called API connector. The function will do all of those work. Okay, so that's called populating the extra custom attributes. Okay, you can also it is used for populating. You can also use it for collecting also. Okay, so if you wanted to use this as for collecting, you have to choose this as collect attributes, but I'm going to choose this as application claims. I don't want to collect anything for this attribute, but I wanted to send some information back in the claims. Okay, so that's the difference between the collect attribute and the application claims. So now we are done with that. We have selected that in the sign up sign in flow. All right, the next step is to app registration. So click on app registration, come and click on this one. You'll end up on this page. Basically, you have to provide an application name. Here we are going to deal with the web API, so I will say expense tracker web API, a development version. Okay, so that's why dev. The 3 options, you see this. First one is single tenant. Second, single tenant means within my organization, within karthik.techblog.onmicrosoft.com. I don't have any users. I want to deal with the public users, so I will select the third option, which will allow the users to register with their own email ID apart from what we have. And then coming back to the return URL, I'm going to select the local URL, whichever is there for the web API, and I'm going to choose web and then select this URI, and then also check the grant admin consent. Okay, and then register an application. Now you have registered an application in Azure AD B2C, and it just knows that there was one application registered. It doesn't care about what kind of application it is. Now here you need to copy this client ID from the overview blade, and then we are going to put this into our .NET Web API application, and I'll show you. The code is already done, but I'll show you where you need to replace this. The one that you copied, okay, we are going to go to the application settings dot app settings dot development dot json. Okay, because this is the development, like locally running code, I'm going to replace certain things. See, this is the existing configuration. All what you have to do is come here and change the client ID to whatever you are creating. If you take my application, it will still work because I'm going to leave whatever we are developing just like that. So whenever you take the application, it will work. So replace the client ID that you are creating in this application. I replaced it just now, whatever we created. Okay, after the client ID is replaced, we need to replace few more information, and the next one is the expose an API. So basically this web API is going to expose to and consuming application. The first thing that you have to do is application ID URL. This one has to be unique. You see this, the domain name is karthictechworld.onmicrosoft.com followed by a unique URL. I'm going to make it unique by giving it's a dev / application name / API. This will become an unique URL and it has to be unique. Okay, so once this you have created, next is adding a scope. We will create two scope, very simple application. So we will create expense.read, expense.write, two different scope. Read is for get and write is for the put and other permissions like put, post, delete. We need the right scope. Scope is something that will allocate will allow the API to have the permission check. So once we have these two scopes created, what will happen is the application ID URI that we formatted, right, followed by / the scope name. You see the complete name, right? That is what will become. So we are exposing now two scopes from the web API. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to change few more things in the configuration. So go back here, there is something called instance and there is something called domain. Both are different. Instance means we are dealing with Azure AD B2C, so it is going to be b2clogin.com. So we'll take the domain tenant name that we created, which is Karthik Tech World, and replace it here. So it is supposed to be karthictechworld.b2clogin.com. Similarly for domain, it is going to be karthictechworld.onmicrosoft.com. Okay, so those two are different, don't get confused. One is for logging mechanism, one is for the tenant that is representing for the Microsoft. Okay, so once you have these two set up, also add the sign in policy ID, which is b2c_1_susi. Now web API concept is done. Okay, there are other changes in web API, I will explain you, but this is the basic information that you need to copy paste. Remaining and all, it's there in the controllers. Okay, now we are going to register another application, that is our Angular application. It could be any application, it could be a React application or anything, but basically client application. In this case, I'm going to give expense tracker web dev. This is the dev representation. That's why I have something called dev. Once you have the name created, again I go with the third option, and then here you use single page application SPA, and I'm going to choose the URL that is locally running URL, which is 4200. Click on grant admin permission, register the application. Okay, this application is the second application, which is our client application, that will also have its own client ID. Now we have to copy this and going to place few information in the Angular application. So before we do that, we have some more informations to be developed. We have some more informations to be done here, right? Go to API permission, and now you're saying I'm going to consume the web API, which is just we registered, right, which is expense tracker API dev. Select on that and provide like check to scopes. Basically now we are saying our Angular application have access to this web API application that was registered with these two scopes. Don't forget to click on grant admin consent for learn smart coding, whatever that is there, right? Then it becomes all green. So you have given access from your front end to access the backend application. That's super important. Okay, from API you will expose, from Angular application you will consume it. Now once you're done with all of these things, right, there is something called run user flow. Basically you can test the user flow mechanism in the portal itself, but what I noticed is at one point of time it doesn't work as it is expected. But let me show you how it works, right? So you go to one of the user flow and select this application that you have registered here, whatever you see in the right side, right? Here I selected the web and I selected the URL, and so let's go to the app registration, and we will add something there in the return URI so that we can select in the run user flow mechanism. Okay, so here what we will do, we will go to authentication, and apart from whatever we have, right, we will add an other extra URI called jwt.ms. okay, so that's where you can decrypt the code that was generated to see what is there in the application claims. Okay, I am going to add the same thing for the UI also, so that you know how you can choose different user flows and work on it. So I'm going to choose the same thing, click on save, both are saved. Now what we will do, let's go to user flow and select the sign up sign in user flow. So I'm going to go to the user flows, click on sign up sign in, and here run user flow. So here I can choose the web API, and then I can choose the return URL here and click on run user flow. So what this will do is it will mimic how the application will behave. See, it brought up me the screen. If you have already signed up, like signed in, okay, so if you have already signed up, you can use the existing one, but actually this is first time I'm doing, so I need to sign up. So I'll click on sign up now, and I have to select my email ID to which I'm trying to sign in, like sign up. And then once you choose that, you click on send verification code. It will send literally an email to your email ID. You will get a number. So here you will select the email ID to which you wanted to sign up. Click on verify email ID, and then it is going to send you literally an email ID like this, like an email to Microsoft will send an email like this. Take the code from there and then come back and put it here to verify that you are the one, that owner of that email ID that you claim for. And then provide some password. I'm going to provide some password which I can remember. You can reset also later, but basically according to the password rule you have to give the password. Again, I will show in a separate video where you can change this kind of a password rule also, but for now let's go with the password. And then if you remember, we selected only 3 items in the collect attribute, that's display name, surname and first name, the given name, surname and the display name. That's why those 3 buttons, like the input was coming. And see, it will take you to the next page once it is successfully signed up. Okay, ideally speaking, when this code comes, it will go to this place automatically and it will decrypt and show, but these days this is not working. But I'm trying to show you that this is also one of the way that you can do to check your all the user flows, like sign up, sign in, password reset, profile editing. You can literally test all of your user flows by running like this. Okay, so now I have already signed up, so I can sign in. Again, it's not working, don't worry, we will see a live demo right away with the Angular application, how the real stuffs are coming. Okay, so for now let's ignore this, but this is just for your awareness that you can actually do. If I succeed, I'll let you know what was a mistake that was preventing it not to work. All right, but the authentication, everything was success. It's just that the code did not have the signature, so we couldn't decrypt it. It's okay. See, let's take a look at the password reset flow, right? If you go here and run user flow, again, it may not work, but the password reset will work. Okay, it may not give you back the claims, but basically it will take you and ask you to first log in. Once you authenticate, like once you prove that you are the one who you are trying to reset the password, it will literally send you the password. But I don't want to reset my password. Similarly, you can click on profile edit, run user flow. This will allow you to change this display name alone. Okay, that is what we set up, right? So it will ask you, see, it will ask you to first log in. See, I'm going to log in. See, once you log in, what will happen? It will now take you to another page where it will be allowing you to change the name. So remember, I'm changing a name now, and that is what I will show you how it is getting reflected in the user section of the Azure AD B2C. So I changed the display name. Okay, this is fine, don't worry about this, but literally your policy all worked, all of the 3 policies worked. Okay, and I'll show you where it is getting reflected. Now go back to the main home page, and then I think this is happening because I opened multiple tabs with different directories. Anyway, so let's go back to home page and let's go to users. This is the place where all the registered users will start showing up here. You can see I registered using the Gmail ID. That's why the second entry is showing up. The first one is the inbuilt Microsoft account that I have. But if you go and click on this one, the display name we changed to Karthikanan, right? So that's what it's showing as the display name. Okay, so you can see the display name here, and that is what it is showing up. See, this is the display name that we changed, and that's why it is reflecting it. Based on whatever you give, it will show here. And from here, if you want to reset a particular user's password, if on request, you can do from here as an administrator. You can revoke the current session if you feel something is wrong with the user. You can do so many things from portal as well as using the Graph API. We'll talk about Graph API later, but we saw these two app registration, right? So now we have to configure this in the Angular application. Let's go back to the web. We copied the client ID, and see, I've already uploaded the web API application as well as the UI application. So expense tracker web API is the web API, expense tracker web is the UI application. Okay, so this one is done. Apart from all of these things, the UI, the backend is good. We can restart this so that it will reflect, and then I'm going to talk about the Angular application also. So I'm going to go to this repository, download the code, and you will see the code like this. Okay, and like I said, there's a separate branch which will show only about AD B2C details in Angular 18, and I will show you what exactly you need to change. Come to this environment.ts, and in environment.ts you need to replace the client ID of the web application app registration we did, right? That client ID you copy and replace it here. Okay, hold on, this is keep opening. Alright, so we copy the web app registrations client ID. Okay, I copied that, and that is what you need to replace it in the web application environment.ts file. Okay, other than that, let's see one more thing. Okay, you see this, our domain name is karthictechworld.onmicrosoft.com. so we need to do some adjustment in the Angular application. So come here, wherever you see the scope, you need to copy paste the scope that we created. It is going to be karthictechworld.onmicrosoft.com/dev/expense tracker API/API/expense.read. Whatever you see on my screen, that is what the scope that we created and exposed. So we copy paste the scopes properly here. The scope should be very good and correct. Alright, and then very important thing, application endpoint, because we're dealing with the dev environment, like locally running application, all these things are showing up here as the locally running port. Okay, localhost 44.351/API, it's nothing but the web API's address. Okay, so we replaced the scope, we replaced the client ID, we replaced these things. There's one more thing that is pending. Go to app.config.ts. there's something called B2C policies configuration. Here you need to literally copy paste the 3 policy name that we created. Here I copy pasted already, and here the sign up authority, right, all these 3 authority, policy authority, you need to have this URL. Basically your tenant.b2clogin.com/tenantname.onmicrosoft.com/ followed by the policy name. Once you have these 3 things replaced, and the authority domain is karthictechworld.onmicrosoft, like b2clogin.com. Once you have done these replacement properly, okay, if you run the application and try to log in, it will show you like this, and you can see this URL going up. That's the OpenID configuration. This configuration will tell Angular where to call for the token, what to do for the logout, all of these things is actually here. The MSAL version 3 for Angular 18 that we are using, the packages that we are using for this AD B2C for Angular, will have every information. It knows what to do with this configuration. Okay, so once you have set up all of these things properly, you can see we already saw the login and sign up and sign in, right? So I'm going to use the existing login, and it's going to allow me to go inside, and we will also see the claims here. Okay, see, once I have this email ID and password properly done, it logged me in back. Alright, so now how do I know the claims? If I go to view my claims, you can see all of the claims showing up here. I have all the name, given name, family name, email ID, everything is coming here, and every single thing here, like everything that you show, the description is also provided here. This is what the JWT token that we received, which we decrypted and showing like this. Okay, that is what it is. So we know now how this will work, and because it is authenticated, I can go and do other works. When you download the code, you will not have every single functionality, but you will definitely have something that is working for Azure AD B2C with Angular 18 application. So download the web API, download the Angular application that is there in the repository, and if you start doing this work, then you will end up enjoying this application. This application is also hosted, so I will give you the hosted application URL. Please do feel free to log in. Feel free to log in that main application and experience how this application looks like. I want your honest review of this application, and we will be starting the series of Angular full development. Okay, a lot of people have asked why are you not showing full complete development. So we'll do this Angular 18 standalone application. This is a new concept, and we'll use all of the 18 features here. Okay, and let's come to the end of this video. So I will just summarize. We did create an AD B2C tenant creation, and then we did a user flow, and then we also did the custom attributes. Then we followed with the app registration for web API, app registration for the SPA application, the single page application. In our case, it's Angular 18, and then we provided the permissions for our Angular application to talk to our web API. Right, that's what called application permission. And when we are done with all of these things, we also saw how the user flow works, and finally we saw what kind of configuration you have to do it in the Angular and the web API application that is also there in the GitHub repositories. Once you're done with all of these things, the basic understanding and the complete end-to-end working of Azure AD B2C is done. Your application should seamlessly work at this point of time, and we will see in the upcoming videos the new features and other functionalities that are available in Azure AD B2C in the portal. Alright, so stay tuned. If you like this video, do subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends, and I will soon talk to you in a different video. Thank you guys, bye bye. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!